I am defending Ukraine. I cannot sell our country.
If there's one thing Donald Trump likes, it is making deals, whether it is for a plot of land in New York or to settle wars in foreign lands. And he is all set to strike another one, this time with Ukraine. President Zelensky is expected to visit the White House on Friday. His mission? To sign a mineral deal with President Trump. We told you about this yesterday. Ukraine will share its mineral wealth with the United States. In return, they will get some sort of protection. That's the idea behind this deal. And the US president is quite thrilled about it.
Is it true that President Zelensky is coming on Friday to meet with you, and is the mineral deal sorted out?
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that he's coming on Friday. Certainly, it's okay with me if he'd like to, and he would like to sign it together with me, and I understand that's a big deal, very big deal. And I think the American people, even if you look at polling, they're very happy because, you know, Biden was throwing money around like it's cotton candy, and it's a very big deal. Look, it could be $1 trillion deal, it could be whatever, but it's rare earths and other things.
The idea was first pitched by Zelensky. He thought it would keep Trump interested in the war, but Trump took it too far. His initial proposal demanded $500 billion from Ukraine. Also, it gave no security guarantees, so Zelensky rejected it. He said he would not sell his country. Listen to this.
Although I say again that we are ready for a serious document, we need security guarantees. You need them. Investing, sharing, depending on the investment and the purpose of it. And if there's nothing clear there, I said, let's write percentages. That was my proposal. I am defending Ukraine. I cannot sell our country.
What changed then? Mainly two things. One, Trump ramped up the pressure. He called Zelensky a dictator. He also began dealing directly with Putin. This clearly spooked Zelensky. So he had to do something to appease the US president. That is the first thing. Trump unsettled Zelensky. Secondly, Trump also made some concessions. He has dropped some of his demands. For example, the first draft required Ukraine to pay $500 billion to America. That has been dropped. It also asked Ukraine to repay the double of any future aid. Say the US gives $100 million, then Kiev had to repay $200 million later on. Again, that demand has been dropped. Instead, the latest draft is more equitable. And we mentioned this yesterday. Ukraine and the US will set up a joint fund. Kiev will give up 50% of its mineral revenue to this fund. Basically, both sides get a cut. And what about security guarantees? None from the looks of it. The draft reportedly mentions Ukraine's sovereignty and freedom, but it does not offer explicit guarantees, nor does it commit to more aid. Both of these were key demands of Zelensky, and looks like both have been dropped. But Ukraine is not giving up. They say this agreement is preliminary. Kiev is hoping Zelensky can sway Trump in person. If not, they may still reject the deal.
We are not considering signing any agreements without security guarantees. And, of course, today, after 2 weeks of intensive work between the governments of the United States and Ukraine on our economic cooperation, we have actually prepared a final version. After the President of Ukraine and the President of the United States agree on security guarantees, agree on how we tie this preliminary agreement to the security guarantee from the United States for our country, in the presence of both presidents, a representative of the Ukrainian government will sign this preliminary agreement.
It will be a tough mission for Zelensky because Trump is not looking for a political breakthrough. He just wants the money. Plus, he isn't just buying minerals from Ukraine. He wants to buy from Russia too.
I'd like to buy minerals on Russian land too, if we can. The rare earth. They have very good rare earth also. They both do, I would say that, and oil and gas. Look, it's a great thing. If we sell this, it's great for Russia too, because we can do deals there.
Think of it like this. Relations between Ukraine and the US are deteriorating. This deal will not cure that. What it can do is delay the slide. Maybe buy Zelensky some more time. He's hoping his other allies will come together by then, and some, in fact, are coming through, like the UK. Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced a big decision yesterday. He is raising defence spending in the UK to almost 2.5% of the GDP.
So starting today, I can announce this government will begin the biggest sustained increase in defence spending since the end of the Cold War. We will deliver our commitment to spend 2.5% of GDP on defence, but we will bring it forward so that we reach that level in 2027. And we will maintain that for the rest of this Parliament.
So the UK will spend more on defence, even more than NATO's 2% requirement. This has two main objectives. One is to appease President Trump, because Starmer is visiting the White House tomorrow. So think of it as a pre-meeting gift. And secondly, to push for self-defence. Europeans are realizing they cannot depend on the US anymore. They must make and deploy their own weapons. And it's not just the UK. This realization is spreading across the continent. The EU Council President wants to build a Europe of defence. Poland wants Cold War-era spending levels. Denmark is bumping up arms spending to 3% of its GDP. Even the incoming German Chancellor is hinting at more weapons. So the sentiment in Europe is clear. We need to be armed.
We are building the Europe of defence. And this must include, of course, our priorities. And priority is clear: to protect our eastern border.
In short, we need a return to at least the level of defense spending that was incurred by NATO countries during the Cold War, when Soviet imperialism was threatened at the time.
We must fundamentally increase our defense spending to at least 3% of GDP over the next few years. We must be able to secure this money, and we must ensure that it is spent wisely and effectively.
We are allocating $7 billion over the next 2 years with a message for the Chief of Defense. Buy.
Many leaders, same message. Europe needs to rearm. They scoffed at Trump's suggestions first, but now reality is kicking in. As of today, these are only announcements on paper. Let's see if Europe follows through. But if they do, we could be looking at a monumental realignment. A Europe that does not need America for protection, an America that does not care about Europe, and a Russia that spars with Europe but cuts deals with America. This is an unthinkable realignment. Of course, we are decades away from any of this. Perhaps Trump's isolationism will disappear with him, or perhaps it will become mainstream. We can only wait and watch.
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat ke logon ko meri namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically, in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs. And that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model, and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.